Are you able to see your ego taking control over your experience? How it keeps you entangled in thought loops. When you see these thoughts, you easily realize that most of them are negative thoughts, aren't they? Then why do we have them? Now you might say that thought loops are inescapable, that I can never let go of these negative thoughts, this compulsive thinking. That creates so much trouble for me. But this is also a thought of the mind. Let this sink in. Your mind traps you in the prison of thoughts and then convinces you that you can never escape it. Realizing that the mind is doing this is the first step to finding peace. It's almost funny to imagine. The mind creates a prison of negative thoughts and then locks itself into that prison. Try to visualize it. Try to see a physical brain trapped in a metal prison. Realize that you are looking at the mind in the prison from outside. You are not in that prison. You never were. The mind is. Look at what the mind is doing while it is in that prison. It is coming up with negative thoughts that trap it further. But notice that all the negative thoughts are there around the mind. While you stand far away and look at all this happening, it's just that the mind is exceptionally good at convincing us of its own experience. It makes us believe that its experience is real and that we are living it. And we have a tendency to fall into this illusion and believe the mind without realizing that we are doing that. However, it is equally natural for us to escape this illusion, to separate our identity from the identity of the mind. And doing this is the source of peace and infinite joy in life. Let me emphasize this. It is natural and very much possible to separate yourself from the misery of the mind, and you can do it too. Notice any skepticism that arises to what I'm saying. Do you hear someone saying, no, this is just not possible, or this doesn't make sense? Well, that is the mind. Those words are generated by your mind. Where else can they come from? It just doesn't want you to believe this, to separate it from your own identity. But realize how you are already doing it. You are able to see the mind for what it is. Now let me admit this. Like any other worthwhile endeavor, this task of creating a healthy relationship with the mind requires practice and repeated effort. On some days, it will be more difficult to separate from the experience of the mind. Sometimes, the thoughts come up with so much force in form of emotions that it becomes difficult to escape them. So we need to practice this. We need to be aware of the nature of the mind, to create panic and remember it multiple times in the day, even on the most difficult days. And gradually, feeling this distance from the mind will become very natural for you. Believe me on this. We need to learn to observe the thoughts as an observer, instead of entangling ourselves with them at all times. We need to make a conscious habit of doing this until it becomes more natural for us. Whenever thoughts come up, we need to stop and look at them. Remember, avoiding thoughts and distracting ourselves is also a form of entanglement, and the thoughts will come back until you face them. So we need to face them as creations of the mind, acknowledging that they are not ours, but the mind's. We need to look at them from a distance and let them be. Let's just be aware of their presence. Let them be in your awareness without affecting you. Finally, I want you to have sincere compassion for yourself as you embark on this journey. You also need to have compassion for the mind. Don't look at it as an enemy, but rather as a friend who is scared. And the best way you can help it is by letting it be in your awareness.